You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Arrested Development After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Arrested Development After Show.
Okay. Okay. A little bit different.
It's a throwback. It's a throwback.
It is a throwback. Welcome, everybody. Bing is for doing. We're here doing it. The first ever AFTERBUZZ TV Arrested Development edition. Woo. I know. It's been a while.
Years in the making.
Years in the making. I remember when the rumors first came out that there would be a show. And it's been years since the rumor.
They said a movie and then a show and then a movie.
I know. Well, it's partly because of the cast. You know, in between that time they grew. So we'll discuss kind of the in-between time of the actors as well after we dissect the show. But first, I will not be your regular host, but I am Phil Svitek, joined alongside Cathy Kelley.
Hello, everyone.
She will be a regular, and Nando.
Yes, hi everybody.
Hello.
Woo. Yeah.
And filling in for one of the other hosts as well is Mama Kay.
Woo! My mom. I'm here.
She is a fan. She's not just. It's not just.
We figured we'd bring in the dysfunctional family element of the show.
That's right.
To our after
and
show.
having someone old enough to remember the original episodes.
Yes, it is. Well, we actually started watching Arrested Development together when it first came on.
And look what it did to your development.
Yes.
It stunted it or helped it?
No comment.
Well, let me ask you, part of what we're doing, obviously, it's a Netflix series. We could just kind of watch all the episodes, but at least for me, you know, I'm going episode by episode, and we'll kind of be unveiling them week by week. So for us, we've just seen the first episode, and that's all we're kind of really discussing. So overall impressions of, you know, going from years ago. I mean, I feel like every Arrested Development fan has watched the series 4 times over.
Yeah.
And then, you know, this long wait. So what's your overall impression of, you know, the wait to this show? What you got?
It holds up. It holds up. That's the most surprising thing so far. I mean, hairstyles change. People look a little older.
Lindsay proves that.
Yeah, Lindsay especially, and also Lucille a bit. But you know, Liza Minnelli's not getting any younger. But other than that, I think it's great. It's weird to see them focus just on one person. That's the only thing, but we all knew that ahead of time when they made the announcement that they said these episodes were going to be following one person in each one. But it holds up, and you know, you think they've run out of jokes, but they're still doing callbacks. They're still bringing new stuff. There seems to be some stuff that they're setting up for future episodes, so I'm loving it.
It's so nice to have them back. I missed them.
Yeah. For me, it seemed like no time at all because, as you said, like a lot of Arrested Development fans have watched the series over and over again, and I seem to watch like the first and second season, especially with all of my friends. Like whenever I introduce someone new to the show, I'll watch the first season with them entirely, and then I loved every time they would reference season 1, 2, or 3, they would have that little thing across the screen that was like an anti-piracy.
Oh, is that what it was?
Did you notice that? Yeah,
I noticed it, but I didn't understand what it was there for.
I think they did that intentionally. It said show stealer trial version. So they were literally ripping it off from Fox.
I see. Okay. That's a good pickup because I didn't look at it like that. I was like, why is this thing? I kept screaming at Steven and Marissa, you know, 2 of our producers here.
No, they did that on purpose.
That's funny. That is funny.
Yeah.
The only thing we'll talk about all the tiebacks, but for me, the tiebacks sometimes were a little bit. I felt forced. I didn't quite need all of them. You know, I wanted to kind of come up with some sort of new inside jokes, but overall, I was happy.
I think for the fact that this is the first episode, they had something to prove, and I think I'm not seeing a lot of the other episodes. I'm 1 or 2 ahead of you guys, but they all stand alone. I feel that they just wanted to set the pace and just remind people that they are going to go back to the past 3 seasons. And hey, since you're watching on Netflix, guess what? They're all on there anyway, so you can always check
them out.
Check them out.
I'm sure that there are a lot of fans that are just starting this season. So they kind of do need some tiebacks, especially for the first
Any
episode
sequel,
or
you
two.
need to have some kind of revision of what happened. You need to be reminded, because we're all old and senile.
There aren't crazies like us that watch the...
I would have. The only thing, I mean, I liked how they kind of told the story. The only thing, if it was a little bit more linear, I felt like we were going the rewind button, then, now, and I thought that was funny.
That's how they did the first season, where they were on a boat, and the very first scene was the boat, and then they, at the very end of the episode, they brought it back to the boat.
But it seemed like a lot of shifting within the shifting, to a degree. I don't know. That was a little, for me. It was a little strange. I don't know. That was strange for me. But other than that, I really did enjoy it.
Yeah. There are longer episodes now, because they used to be the standard 22 minutes, and now they're, I think,
about 28.
Completely 30 minutes long, or 20.
It's like about 28.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those extra minutes are important.
Yeah. I mean, here's the good news: you can go as long as short. You know, it's going to be about 30, but I think if they wanted to, they could go a little bit longer. If they want to go shorter, it's as long as the episode needs to be.
They seem to still have the breaks, though, the breaks that would be between the commercials, because
Right,
you see the flash of white. Yeah, they seem to have that. And then the other thing that I noticed that was interesting, considering this is Netflix, is they still have the bleeps, which the bleeps make things funny, but it's Netflix, so you can watch Netflix movies without usually having to worry about that.
It's like unnecessary censorship.
Yeah.
But that's also part of the humor, that this is really something that you can watch with your kids.
No, you're right.
Borderline, maybe.
I'm gonna go with more Nando, because I mean, remember when Buster made that whole thing against his mom? It was just one long bleep, and that's what made it funny. It was like, what could he have said?
Yeah.
But let's. So the main storyline of tonight, Michael and George Michael, and
This is Michael's Arrested Development. I love it. I love how they said that in the opening. Which, by the way, I love the fact that the music's revamped too. They kind of added stuff. But anyway, go ahead.
What did you guys think about this? I mean, I was kind of talking with Matt Lieberman here at AfterBuzz, and it's just interesting because Michael's supposed to be our straight man for all of these things, and now you take all of his minutia and kind of expose it, and because he's so desperate, he's not the straight man in this episode, and so that's what kind of made it wobbly and funny in that sense, you know. But how did you guys, go ahead.
It was weird, because he's usually the rock, and they even mentioned it several times in this episode. He's the one that kept the family together, and if he's losing it, then...
But maybe it's the changing of the guard, as in you could be the rock.
Now George Michael's the rock?
Yeah, that the child takes over, the child matures enough to be functional.
There is a switcheroo there between the two of them. Like, for example, in the beginning when he's trying to get the password, he's like, "Remember, what's the most important thing?
Family."
Family." But that was always the other way.
Breakfast is the most important thing.
Exactly. It was always the other way around.
Yeah.
And, like that, and then the take your daughter. I was mentioning take your daughter to work day. It was
because
so
I took my mom to work day.
Exactly. It was so much like take your dad to college type day or something like that, where Michael was the one who's out of place. Now, George Michael was the one that's out of place. Now it's Michael. So it's a total switcheroo, which I love.
And I'm thinking of moving to LA and living with Cathy, just because.
Oh, God.
Just because of this. The other thing I thought was interesting, yes, especially in the beginning, you see Michael completely changed and different and affected. But you know how they say you turn into your parents sometimes?
Oh,
I
don't
think
tell
Michael,
that to Cathy.
No. Well, I was going to say I think he's turning into his siblings, because he's as oblivious and cocky as Job. He's as vain as Lindsay can be, and probably sexually frustrated as Lindsay is. And also his desperation a little bit. He's running back to his mom at the end. So there's a little bit like Buster.
Yep.
So there's a little bit of his siblings there. He's totally playing off more like them.
That's actually a really good point, Nando. What was I going to say? Also, in terms of technology, I found it funny. Do you guys think that I always felt like Michael would be on top of things? You know what I mean? And for him to not even know how to work, and as he keeps referencing, it's still on 2003.
I would like to say that my mom is very on top of things technologically, but she cannot work her iPhone 5 to save her life.
No, I can do almost everything on my iPhone 5 except for use it as a phone. That to me is the problem.
Useful.
She can't use the maps. She struggled with that all weekend, and she still doesn't type on the phone. She just uses Siri.
And I don't call it Siri, because who is Siri? She's not a family member.
She could be.
You think?
She's everybody's family member.
Yeah.
That's just totally dysfunctional.
So, I mean, for me, to me, that was very funny seeing him not be able to work that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a nice joke. And by the way,
hit the today button. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's locked on 2003. It's locked on 2003.
by the way, with they mentioned identity theft. Was that a joke on Jason Bateman's movie?
I should hope so.
Because he said nobody likes their identity stolen.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good reference. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
You
thought.
didn't get that, Kathy?
I didn't hear it because other people are talking. You
We
have
were
to listen
laughing.
to everything.
I
Like
was
it goes
listening.
so fast. No, but that's one of the things that I love about Arrested Development is I can watch the episode 10 times and still not pick up on every joke. And maybe it's because I'm stupid,
I
or
was not
maybe
gonna comment on
I
that.
knew you were gonna say that. That's why I said
didn't.
it before you.
I
But
would never say that.
there are so many jokes, and it's so witty that you can go back multiple times and still
There's
pick up
more.
on new stuff. Like everything is a joke.
It is very true. Now, Nando, going off of your point that everything kind of reflected Michael's siblings.
Yeah.
When he was coming up with the different scenarios of if they vote this way and they vote this way, who did that stem from? If you had to put Buster, Lindsay, Job.
Oh boy. To be honest, I think that stems from Michael at his worst. Because Michael is such an analyzer and whatever, he's always thinking about other people. But there was so much cockiness in there that I would have to say it's Job. Because he's so cocky. He's like, no way am I voted out. So yeah, I'll write my name down and then we'll figure out the scenario. That bit went on for way long. As a fan of Survivor, I really loved it actually. So it was very Survivor.
Okay.
I love that.
That's
Yeah.
That was a nice reveal. That was in terms of that. I felt it was a really good tie back with the Charlie Brown music, and then to pan down to that of Dad.
Charlie Browning out the door. It's so sad.
I love that. I'm so glad they brought that one back. Yeah, I hope they have a couple more because that's like one of my favorite little head down and just walking out.
I love the whole face block thing that George Michael was creating.
Is this going to go further, or is this just one and done kind of weird thing?
What?
Face block.
Face block. I think that we'll see a lot more references to that this season. I don't know.
Okay.
It could be like a Mark Zuckerberg type joke, starting out in college with his roommate.
It could, yeah. Now, not to spend necessarily too much time into this, but we joked about Michael's sexual frustration. Let's go to George Michael with Cousin Maybe.
Oh,
With the tie on the door and it's his cousin?
yeah. Well, I mean, we found out at the end of the third season that they aren't actually related because
Lindsay's adopted.
Lindsay's adopted. She almost was a Sitwell.
So are they want to go out? I mean, I don't know. Where are we? Where's the feelings?
They
I think
seem
it's
to be
gonna happen,
dating,
yeah.
but they're just still too shy.
Are they?
Well, they're still too shy to obviously say something in front of his dad. They obviously are still affected by that.
I want to say that they kind of were, like make out buddies in high school for a while after that, and then something happened because Michael even said, well, you can't date her because you're too young and it'll just end up with heartbreak. And so maybe they broke up and now they're still friends, and maybe she's dating Steve Holt again, or I don't know.
Steve Holt.
I want to say though, so I did like extra work for a while before I started working at AFTERBUZZ full time, and one of the things was they wanted Asian extras for George Michael's college scenes because it's at UC Irvine, and they didn't choose me because I wasn't Asian enough.
It's also, I mean, they had a lot of male Asians there. Right?
I mean, that's UC Irvine.
You had the grandfather with his, whatever the kid's name
and
was.
the Twin Club guys. And P-Hound.
He came up with that name, P-Hound. I want to see him
George
come
Michael
back.
wants to change his name too.
To what?
I don't
Anything
know.
other than George Michael.
Other than George Michael, yeah.
And not Boy George.
Yeah.
And not keep away from the 80s.
80s references?
Yeah, the 80s references of people getting caught in bathrooms doing sexual acts.
I love that they had the same reporters too.
Oh, yeah. They brought
brought her
John
back,
Beard back? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad. What I love about it, and part of why I think it took so long, is everyone had to get back on board. And I don't think us as fans, we'd be so mad if we didn't see Lucille as Lucille or Lindsay as Lindsay. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that they cast everyone that was originally there.
But it
Yeah.
also could be that they needed a new storyline, so they needed everybody to grow up a little bit, or at least the
No,
kids.
it was that I think Michael Cera was the one that I heard the rumors about. He was holding out on either more money or he just didn't want to reprise the role.
Michael.
George Michael.
Well, it's great that not only did they manage to get everyone back, but they added star power. So we've gotten really awesome
Seth
cameos.
Rogen.
Yeah.
Workaholics.
Kristen
Exactly.
Wiig.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen. Dude
That's-
from Workaholics. Wasn't he in Pitch Perfect, or was that someone else?
I
don't know.
didn't
He
see
was
Pitch
in-
Perfect, so
Yes,
I
he
don't
was
know.
in Pitch Perfect.
Funny,
Oh, really?
It was a funny movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was. He was in Pitch Perfect. That's right.
So.
So he was the cocky guy from Pitch Perfect. But yeah, I mean, Kristen Wiig, especially that opening with her with the makeup on and then turning it into a Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
And it ended up being the Grinch That Stole Christmas, except
Yes.
for Cuatro de Mayo.
So perfect.
I thought that was funny, and then it just turned into a big thing. But the Mexicans, they want the holiday back. I was a little confused a little bit. But
It was the
overall,
Mexican
fun.
War. It was the Mexican War on May 5th. It's like they're having a war on May 5th.
Yeah. Well, the whole idea was it was because she wanted to deplete all the party favors before May 5th, so they would
So
have.
they couldn't have a big party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost believed at the very top. I almost believed there was actual holiday in Newport Beach. I was starting to Google it up right
Did you
before
know,
the flashback.
On what island is that? Catalina Island, where this is supposed to be based off of. There are banana stands there.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you can get your frozen bananas.
I went there a while ago, and they have frozen. It's not like a banana stand, like cut out like a banana, but there is a banana stand on the island.
Did you
There's
get
no
money?
cars actually.
There's always money in the banana stand.
There is money in the banana stand.
Did you take some?
No.
So if they don't have cars, how can you arrive in that wonderful thing with the stairs?
Because it's not completely based off of that island. But.
Speaking of complete racism, how do we? You guys know? Well, no.
You never tip an African American? Is that what you're getting to?
Yeah. You know? And I love how Barry Zuckerberg, he's going along for the whole thing. Not even on a train? Like, as if that's a rule.
I love it.
So, just a nice, funny, awkward moment between them.
Awesome.
And then
scene.
Lucille just so, nice little tie back in terms of how she just deals with all this stuff so long.
Awesome.
Speaking of that whole, how do we feel about their divorce? This was kind of news.
It's shocking. I felt like Buster when they said that they were getting a divorce.
It's true. I mean, we didn't spend too much time on it, which I'm sure they'll explore in whose ever episode, whether it's George's or Lucille's, but it is news.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is. Well, they've always had a love-hate affair, kind of, so to speak.
You mean cheating affair?
Cheating affair. Yeah.
Maybe George will go with Kitty and Lucille will be with Oscar.
I hope to see more Kitty. I definitely hope Kitty's in the mix. She was at one of the banana
You'll
stand
miss
locations.
these.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to see. But of course, we know they're bleeping, so they're not going to show anything else anyway. But I think actually Judy Greer was at one of the banana stand locations in LA. They actually promoted her, so to do.
I would love the George, Job, and her kind of again, with the glasses on and off.
Oh God, that'd be awesome.
That would be
Maybe
quite
that's the mystery Maria.
Yeah, we need to find out who that is.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in predictions, but.
fun. Well, let's talk about it. What do you, because it's someone that Michael knows.
It's someone Michael knows. I was trying to think of who it could be. I was like, could it be Marta? But that doesn't make sense because he called her
know
Maria.
that it's? Did we really hear Maria? Do we know it's a woman?
We don't know it's a woman, but maybe changed her name and now she's called Maria.
Could it be a guy because Job did make that joke homo much?
Yeah.
That's true.
And he did say bad example. So is he?
It looked like female legs,
But
but
Michael
maybe
said, "I knew it." Michael was like, seemed pissed, and he said, "I knew it." So it had to be somebody like Marta. I mean, he knew about Ann Ziel, but they didn't get too far.
I don't know. Job is forgetting all the women he slept with.
Oh,
now, granted, they're mistakes.
What was his wife's name again?
Ooh, Michael's?
Michael's
no,
or
Job's.
Job's.
Oh, the one that Amy Poehler played. It's not Maggie because that's Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I don't think there was a Maria in seasons 1, 2, or 3.
Not that I can remember.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But it's somebody that shocked Michael, and so much that he had to give him a forget me now. He had to tackle him and
I
give him a
tried
forget me now.
to a roofie. I tried to look at it on IMDb because I wanted to be a snoop about it and find a Maria, and I couldn't find anything.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll have to figure it out then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Where was Tobias?
Yeah, we didn't see Tobias.
Did he really say Maria though? Maybe it's possible that might just be a little red herring or something.
I don't know.
I didn't hear it.
He didn't. No, he didn't say Maria, but they were talking about Maria just moments prior.
Oh, okay.
You know, and that's where it stemmed from. And you know, they were also talking about the unpleasantries between them. So
Yeah.
we don't quite know what that is. So it is what it is.
I mean, at the end of season 3, wasn't everyone trying to hook up with what's her name? Why am I blanking right now?
I don't know.
The sister,
Lindsay.
Lindsay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
possible too. But she didn't want it. She was getting creeped out by him. She wanted Michael.
Yeah, no offense. Those feet were kind of big to be Lindsay. That would not be a good representation
They
of
look
Portia
like-
de Rossi.
But they say that she was an ugly kid before she had her nose job, so maybe she has ugly feet.
She
Had a
has
foot
cankles.
job?
Is that what you're saying? She's got cankles? They kind of look like Anziel. It looked really young to me. I would guess Anziel, but I find that odd. So
Well, no, because he hooked up with Anne before.
that's true.
But it could be funny that he's going out with her again, and you know, Job does like weird women.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So who knows? That was kind of his last hookup as well.
Yeah.
Was
that
Before
was-
the reveal, you know.
But
with
they only
the
went to second base. They didn't get that far back then.
we need more of those baseball images.
Yeah, the Pete Rose sliding into second base.
and the crowd goes wild.
That was funny. What are your you know, Mama Kay loves the foreshadowing. What was some of your favorite foreshadowing in the episode?
Oh, favorite foreshadowing.
I don't know.
Well,
All you guys kept saying is foreshadowing. So
No, I'm just saying, like, we don't know what it is yet because.
but the
it'll be in
moments
future
that
episodes.
pick out the moments that you think were foreshadowing of something. You don't have to say what it is, but the moments themselves.
Well, I would say I don't know about foreshadowing, but stuff that I think is going to get answered within this season. I mean, Sally Sitwell all of a sudden shows up, and that was a weird comment. She said, like, "Oh, I'm just going to go downstairs and imagine what life would have been like if I
Had married you."
I thought that was a really weird
I thought that was
interaction.
I thought it was weird only because it was a diss, as we later learned that basically Michael's a nobody.
Yeah, but she's there for some reason. I feel like if you're going to bring,
Well, of course, you have to bring Sally. It's Sally Sitwell.
Yeah, and then Michael Cera with the mustache in that first
That was
scene.
weird.
That was weird. That came out
What
of nowhere.
movie did he have the mustache in? There was some movie.
Oh, it's where he's playing himself. Like it's the 2-1.
Yeah.
It's the good him and bad him.
Oh, that's right. What was the name of that one?
I don't
I saw
know.
that one. It was a pretty good one too. He's like playing a bad boy.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't think that was good.
I didn't think the movie was good, but he's good.
It's a really
Yeah.
long name too.
It was one of his better movies, which
What does that mean? Oh my God.
We'll talk about future
We'll talk about
projects
future
in a little bit.
projects
But I think the Ghost Town and Michael B. Company is going to be played up the rest of the season.
well, did you notice? Excuse me. Did you notice the stair car when Michael was going up to see
It was
Lucille?
Stero because at the very end of season 3, Lucille sells the company to Stan Sitwell for
exactly.
20% or 12% above market value or whatever it is, and then he, as we learn, immediately sells it to Lucille Estera.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a Stero Bluth. That's what it said. Yeah,
Estera
totally.
Bluth Company.
Yeah.
Michael's getting money from her. It's gross.
Yeah.
Well,
Who would think that Liza Minnelli is going to get the most tail like in the show? She gets the kiss to make out with like everybody on the show.
Yeah.
it's in her contract. She was like, I'm not doing this unless this is happening.
What about the bailout? He talks about they got bailout money, and he's like, "Oh, what'd you spend it on? 4,000 square feet of desert."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, that's definitely foreshadowing. I'm sure that's something we'll see in George's
that
episode.
reminds me of it kind of ties back for me at least to Oscar's Lemon Grove area where like they
That's
couldn't
right.
build. He had acres and acres of land and they were originally going to build some houses there,
But it was by an army base. They were
and
doing.
they couldn't build. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was worth
So.
nothing.
Yeah, I like having a tumbleweed come in your door, and then you keep trying to kick it, and you keep not being able to kick the
That
thing.
seemed like a Charlie Brown moment too.
Yeah,
Like he couldn't be able
that's
to
what I
kick
was thinking of with the
football.
And the
football.
vulture. Oh, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
And then they showed a vulture.
And the postman dying.
Yeah.
You love other. What did he say? He said love other people, and then he died. I think those were his last words.
You know, it's interesting going back to the acres thing. Every time these guys buy land, it's not good for the Bluths. No, because Sudden Valley is just nothing.
Yeah.
You know, Oscars didn't amount to much, and then as we're predicting now, George's thing isn't going to amount to much either. So don't buy land, the Bluths.
No.
Don't develop it.
They're just not good at this stuff. So
No, they're good at spending money. I don't know what profession out there is that, I'm sure a lot of people would claim to be great at that.
Yeah.
I like that they built all the houses, they pop up all of a sudden on the scene, and then they say, well, and then we had to get a road coming in from town.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think you'd start with the road and then you'd start building? How do you get the things out there to build the properties?
Again, it's what's funny is as level-headed as Michael is, he doesn't always think.
It's backwards. A lot of backwards logic.
Well, again, this is this was Michael really unhinged and just showing all his flaws.
Because he was more concerned with tipping the black man than building a road.
Yeah.
And then he gave it back.
How fitting is it, though, that he wants to be the most moral person and he wants to become a lawyer?
Are you saying lawyers are crooks? Or
You're
that's
a crook.
What I loved about that flashback to that tieback.
They extended it.
But back when they did the first time that he did his whole maritime law thing, way back when, there was nothing about Buster's hand, and now all of a sudden they're screaming out Lucille.
There's a Lucille.
But the name of the musical was The Trial of Captain Hook, which is something from way back.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was good.
So
That's
is that weird or
crazy.
what?
I don't know if that was planned.
Well, that's the thing.
Well, how could it not be planned?
I feel like originally when they showed that, there was nothing about Buster's hand. There was nothing about the Lucille, and all of a sudden they show this extra thing, and it kind of ties into it. It's like a new layer.
It is. I think it's one of those things where, as you're developing the story, all right, we can go with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just kind of see these happy accents. You're like, oh, great, we can use this.
It's probably a happy accident, but it's brilliant still. It comes across as brilliant.
It does. How do we feel about Ron Howard's narration? Got to talk about, no one really knew. He's not even credited as the narrator, but you got to talk about him anytime you talk about the show.
Well, he's a big part of the show. Yeah. I loved how he had to clear his voice at the very beginning. Like hasn't talked in 6 years.
He is credited as a narrator on IMDb. If that counts.
He's not credited in the actual credits of the show.
I mean, he's credited as the director or.
The creator, one of the creators.
Well,
yeah, executive producer certainly. So, but yeah, I thought he did a fantastic job as always.
He hasn't lost a step. I mean, he's awesome. He's brilliant. So he's great, and he's a big part of the show. I know from my last job when we had him on talking about the show when they first announced it, they were going to do this with Netflix. So he was just really passionate about getting this back on too.
Yeah, that's great. And what's funny to me is that he was never supposed to narrate it. They were just like, why don't you do some temp narration? And that's, just for those of you not in the business, just filler. Yeah. You know what I mean? It'd be like, hey, Nando, we need to time this. Can you just say these lines and, we'll get this timing and then we'll get some real, actual professional.
Scratch tracks. They actually call it scratch tracks because you're going to scratch them out and put somebody else real on it. And,
that never happened. Not with him.
Permanent. So
that's funny. I mean, it's just funny in itself to have hey, Ron Howard, why don't you do the scratch narration?
I mean, he fits it so well. It wouldn't be the same without him.
Oh yeah,
it wouldn't. All right, so one of the things, since this is kind of the first episode, let's talk about these guys' kind of journey, to getting here. I mean, Jason Bateman, and just recently Identity Thief, and that whole list, and then Michael Cera with Superbad, and the twin movie that we were talking about.
Before we talk about other movies, should we talk about the movie?
The movie of the summer?
Yes.
Well, all right. Thank you, Cathy. Would you like to talk about it? Well, Cathy comes in here and she's like, all right, you're going to host it. I'm like, I wasn't even signed up to do Arrested Development. So, Cathy,
yes.
I'm going to, at least for this one, I'm going to now go to you, and you give me the best live read I've ever heard.
Okay. If you like shows like Arrested Development, then you will love this new movie coming out on DVD. It is The Adventures of Serial Buddies, with actually some of the cast of Arrested Development. Henry Winkler is the narrator of this movie.
Yes, so, you could put, why don't you compare him and Ron Howard? They both do a very good job.
Henry Winkler does an amazing job in The Adventures of Serial Buddies, and it's about two dim-witted serial killers who end up becoming friends, go on the road trip of a lifetime, and kill a lot of people along the way. Although it does sound very dark, it is very humorous, and it's kind of like a Dumb and Dumber meets Dexter. So if you would like to pick up a copy or download on any any platform. You can do that on May 29th.
May 29th. And it's got Kathy Lee, it's got Beth Bears, Christopher Lloyd, Christopher McDonald, Artie Lang. Who doesn't like Artie Lang? And
Maria
of course,
Menounos.
Maria Menounos.
Creator of AfterBuzz TV.
That's right. And you know what? We don't ask you guys a lot. For those of you who are fans of AfterBuzz TV, which, you know, I'm sure at least, let me say 20% probably are huge fans of AfterBuzz TV. We don't do a lot of commercials, and so, you know, this is something that really helps AfterBuzz indirectly. So if you guys can go and just purchase this movie, you know, you certainly will laugh, and it does keep the pirate ship, as we say, afloat.
And maybe you should purchase 2 or 3 for friends.
You can do that.
Yes. Keep going, yeah.
May 29th, go to serialbuddies.com. It'll have all the info. There's going to be a purchase button and things like that, so just go there if you're unsure. We know if you're like Michael, technology's not your friend, but we're going to make it your friend. So
Ask for help if you need help.
that's
Yeah,
right. Adventures of Serial Buddies, May 29th, serialbuddies.com. All right. Okay, so all the movies that these other guys did.
Yes.
Well, Henry Winkler did Arrested, or not Arrested.
He did Arrested
Henry
Development.
Winkler from Arrested Development did Adventures of Serial Buddies, and it is an amazing movie.
That's right. He did Here Comes the Boom. He did, I mean, what movie hasn't Henry Winkler kind of been a part of? He's great. Having gotten to know Henry Winkler, he's fantastic. So, who do you think had the kind of biggest rise in between this period? I mean,
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera.
Wow.
as opposed to
That's
Jason
undisputed.
Bateman? Jason
No, Jason Bateman was
he was-
huge. This was kind of his comeback, and he has done a lot of stuff. But I feel like growth in their career, Michael Cera he takes it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What do you? What about?
Because he did Superbad. Think of all the movies that Michael Cera's been in since then.
He's also a kid, so he hasn't had a career. He's
Yeah.
growing his career.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at his movies, I'm just looking right now, just because I couldn't remember all of them. But Juno, which was a great movie. Scott Pilgrim, he was the lead. He was Scott Pilgrim.
Pilgrim.
Yeah,
That was
Scott
awesome.
Pilgrim.
Superbad, of course. Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist.
Oh, yeah.
Those are 4 really awesome movies. Just those
Huge
4. But
movies,
he's done
yeah.
a lot of other ones too.
what do we think of Maybe? And forgive me because I don't know her name.
I was going
Or
to say, Michael Cera's rant also got more views than a lot of indie movies out there. His rant on the set of Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Where
yeah.
he just like yelled at all the.
Well, they love a lot of those movies. Like they have DVDs where they love to mess around with Michael Cera because he always comes across so nice. So they always like to do an extra little clip of him being a
Oh.
jerk. Or it was on that one, but I think it was also on Superbad. They've done it in other movies too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hilarious when he does that stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to see Cousin Maybe, she was in. She's done a few movies, but one in particular, Cedar Rapids. She has a great role in that, and it's actually very funny. It's a good movie, and it's got Ed Helms from Hangover.
Oh yeah, and he's great too. And yeah, I love him too.
Yeah, so that's a good movie
Yeah.
with her.
Jason Bateman has been in everything from. Oh my gosh. The switch, the
well.
change up, the.
Yeah.
Horrible Bosses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Horrible Bosses. That was
What
a
about
good one,
Will
too.
Arnett?
He's
though?
hilarious. I love Jason Bateman. He is one of my favorite actors of all time, and I've heard that he's like an amazing person in real
Oh,
life.
and he is. But Jason doesn't surprise anybody, I think, because
I know.
he's just always been good.
Oh, and he was in Juno too.
Yeah, he was in Juno as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hancock.
Yeah.
Hancock. For me, Will Arnett
With
though.
Charlize Theron.
I feel like I don't know. Maybe I just Will Arnett had some really funny movies. Not that
Oh,
Jason
yeah.
didn't, but I just always had an affinity towards Job, and so when kind of Will Arnett was doing all these different movies, I really enjoyed them.
Yeah.
Well, I think with Will, the only problem with Will is he's been doing a lot of TV too, and his TV shows
like
have not
his-
been. I mean, Running Wild didn't last that long.
No.
And Up All Night was great,
Up All Night was hilarious. I loved it.
but it just didn't
So
get.
good.
Yeah, I mean, it just didn't
It
survive.
had a little bit of a
eventually.
cult following, but it
It didn't. Yeah, it didn't have the big buzz. Obviously, the rest of Development did. But he is brilliant. He is amazing at everything he does.
What was that movie
Him and
with
Amy
Blades
Poehler
of
just
Glory?
split up. Didn't
Blades of
they?
Glory. He was awesome in Blades of Glory. That's right. Yeah, and he did. They
Unfortunately.
did separate. I believe they're separated. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's weird because I think they got married after Arrested Development ended, the season 3, and then now.
I'm not sure. They've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
They knew each other both from Chicago, from their days of doing improv in Chicago.
Second City.
Yeah. Second City and IO. Yeah.
Home sweet
And,
home.
I love how half the cast of Arrested Development is voiced to Archer on FX.
Oh yeah.
You can check them out there, and I know Cathy doesn't get the reference because she doesn't watch Archer, but it's fantastic.
I've seen a couple episodes, and I've heard their voices, and I know that they sound familiar.
but it's great. It's because Jessica Walter, who plays Lucille, she's kind of playing her animated form of Lucille, but in a different kind of fashion. It's really fun to see. So check it out.
It's like a heightened version.
Christine Taylor was in this web series. God, what's it called? Oh, Burning Love.
Oh, Burning Love.
An amazing web series. If you have not watched it, definitely check it out. It's absolutely hilarious.
That's The Bachelor kind of
It's a play
parody.
on The Bachelor, and it is amazing.
She's done it with her husband,
Ben Stiller.
There's a lot of really awesome people on there.
And
too.
I think there are several Arrested Development people as well. Like Michael Cera is in that. So it's funny.
Check it out. Yeah. So I mean, it's it's fun seeing them kind of have their have all these projects, but now revisit the characters. Not necessarily that made them famous, but at least made them really known to us.
And even Tony Hale's done it a little bit too. I mean, Tony Hale's in Veep, and he's great in that.
And what's her name? Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She was in Veep.
She's in Veep, obviously. Star.
Jane Lynch had been in a couple episodes of Arrested Development.
Before
now she's
Glee.
huge.
I mean, she was known as a comedian's comedian. She was really, really good. And she was great in like the 40-year-old version, for example. I think that was after her stint on Arrested Development. So. But yeah, she's blown up obviously since then. So a lot of bit characters.
I was gonna say the one person that I really don't think we're gonna see again is Charlize Theron.
No,
I just don't think that we're gonna see her character.
That'd be
anymore.
great if they did. Well, again, they got star power, so they're bringing Seth Rogen and Kristen Wiig, so they could bring her. It's just how are they gonna do it?
I think it's more like a lot lot of comedians will come back. I don't know that she will, just because she's.
Everyone has a twin. Apparently,
everyone has twins.
So she could, we'll find her twin. Or
everyone has a cult following. People have cult following.
They did reference her though today, or in this first episode, saying like, didn't they? Maybe not. Maybe I'm confusing it with the. I don't think they did actually. But yeah, she's done so many movies since.
Yeah.
Here's
Arrested Development.
As we kind of head into predictions. Timing is everything in comedy. So as we head into with season 3 in particular, it wasn't obviously their best season, but for me, what I loved about the humor was just the sheer desperation of like, hey, please go to Burger King, or we will get pulled off the air. And
they knew they were going off air, so they just
exactly. And so for me, because with Netflix and things like that, they don't have that desperation. They don't, so they don't have to go to that level. But I did find a certain humor with it.
In the opening, they were like the family, or the story about the family that almost got canceled.
Yes.
I love that.
I love that. That's in the opening.
Amendment to the opening.
Yes. That was good. Well, what do you guys predict for the rest of the season? Nando, you could predict the ones you haven't seen, I guess.
Okay. Well, yeah. Here's something that I think's really interesting that I wanted to touch upon. So they had that twin day or twin club, whatever, in the college, right? And Michael kept talking about how they were almost like twins, how they almost looked alike.
Wear the same size clothes and everything.
Exactly. He kept referring to that.
Yep.
And we already know that Oscar and
his twin.
Oscar and Georgia have a twin or are twins. So I'm gonna predict that this twin thing is gonna keep going, and I wouldn't be surprised to see if another character has a twin that we don't know about.
Well, Lindsay was supposed to be the fake twin.
Exactly. But maybe Lindsay has a twin. Maybe there's another.
Okay, so the Sitwell daughter, I feel like I always thought that she looked so much like Lindsay, and that was the one that they adopted because they couldn't have Lindsay.
They call her Maggie. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if they are somehow related.
That would be hilarious if they were.
We need the dun 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 again. Remember when like they did with Steve Holt, like, or and then they also did that with Buster, where like maybe he already knows who his father is. Yeah.
I wonder if Job. I wonder if Job and Steve Holt had more of a connection over the few years that we didn't get to see.
That'd be awesome to see too.
I'm sure. Well, the connection that they have is that they're probably sleeping with a lot of women.
Maybe the same women.
They probably have.
Yeah. Likely. Yeah.
I wonder. I think that eventually by the very end of the season, Michael will get his lawyer license.
I don't think so.
I think he will. I think he'll pull it together by the end of the season.
University of Phoenix.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it would be a good way to bring in Henry Winkler's character a little bit more. Maggie Lizer again. Maybe they'll do some kind of.
I hope she comes back.
They'll be in court against each other. Maybe she'll teach a class at the University of Phoenix or something. I don't know.
What can she fake this time? She's already, that's the thing. What can she fake being?
Well, she's not blind anymore. Maybe she'll.
She's not pregnant.
I wonder if like something actually did happen to her. Like she was in some horrific accident where
And of course, Michael calls her out on it, but she
actually is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's funny to me that Barry does not want to work, and yet Lucille is like, no, we got to go with Barry. He's like, oh, what do you need me for? Michael knows it, but he still wants to get paid, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway,
I wonder if Buster will lose another hand, another extremity.
They can't do that. No,
they could do that.
They could. Have him lose a leg. Like that's any better.
Awful. Peg leg and a hook.
Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Next week, I will not be here, but in my place, you will have Alina Akram, and in Mama Kay's place, you will have Roxy Stryer. And then, of course, you will have these guys. In the meantime, where can they follow you guys?
You can follow me on Twitter at Nandovel, Nandovel.
You can follow me on Twitter at Cathy Kelley.
And check these guys out on other shows.
What about me?
She has a Twitter.
I have a Twitter account.
You gonna jip her like that?
Mama Kay, where can we find you?
Well, so now I have 2 Twitter.
Whoa.
2 Twitters? See, now we're getting confused.
Because I was trying to get my original one, which is RNA Mama.
Oh.
So I created an RNA Mama 1.
All right, so do not follow. But instead follow RNA Mama 1.
I thought you were like Kovacs_Liz or something like that.
Now we're just throwing out weights. People are just going to get this.
Follow her on Twitter.
Where can we catch you, Phil?
Follow us here at AfterBuzz TV. We'll certainly be back next week, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go to iTunes, rate and comment. Let us know how we're doing, and of course, tell a friend, because that's the #1 thing you can do to spread the word. Thank you, Steven, in the booth. I know you had a lot of fun watching this episode. Why are we laughing?
I don't know.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.